folks, here it is, the long overdue, often requested, much anticipated, latest Ministry of Dice What the video. And this is a part 2. I promised this ages ago. I did a part 1 talking about comic book characters with no card in the game of Dice Masters and asking what the are WizKids doing neglecting these characters. Well, I've got a list of a whole fresh set of 10. It's part 2. Why the have these characters not got a card in the game of Dice Masters? So let's keep the energy up, let's keep the ranting up, and let's get into it and talk about number 10, DC Comics, Impulse. Why the is this poor sidekick going overlooked in the game? It's such a singular focus in the DC Comics sets around Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, and Harley Quinn that the Flash stuff is going wildly ignored, which really grinds my gears because there was a whole set called Green Arrow and the Flash. Oh, actually, that reminds me, I've not even looked at Arsenal. Part 3 on the way soon, here we go. But yeah, Impulse is going overlooked. If Batman can have a Robin, if Superman can have Jonathan Kent's and Supergirls coming out of his arse, if Wonder Woman can have a Cassie Sandsmart, and even Harley Quinn can get her hyenas in the game, then why hasn't Wally West got his Impulse? This is the current present-day, relevant, flashy sidekick person. And I just think it's wildly unfair. Let's get an Impulse in the game. He's super fun. Have you ever read a comic book with his character in it? He is a laugh. Get Impulse in Dice Masters. Why the is he not there already? Right, there's a DC one. Let's do a Marvel one, and I'm going to move on to a Marvel villain. It's Mephisto. Why the is Mephisto not in this game? He is such a significant villain in that mystical kind of magic side of the Marvel universe. And this is a trend that I'll refer to a few times in this video, he is rumoured to be, speculated to be, quite a significant villain that's about to make an appearance in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And I don't know about you, but I realise the Marvel Cinematic Universe doesn't have a particularly big audience or anything that might help attract people to the game. You know what I mean? But Mephisto, it's just, I feel like the mystical side of the Marvel Universe is sort of a bit neglected we got Ghost Rider and we had a Blade in, like, what was it, the Spider-Man set or whatever, the Amazing Spider-Man set. But Mephisto is a significant villainous character who hasn't had a card yet in the game, and I feel like it's long overdue. But there you go, Mephisto. Why have we not got a Mephisto? It's not right. Okay, on to number 8, and this is another DC Comics character. We have Black Lightning. Now, Black Lightning has been a long-standing contributing member of the Justice League community for decades and decades, and yet we've still not seen a card for this character in the game. What the is that all about? Not only that, he had his own CW TV series. Again, what the hell is going on in WizKids' brains? Why the can they not seem to get a nice tie-in with the set with some characters that are reflective of the massively profitable and popular TV shows and movies that are going on? And Black Lightning is yet another example. He's got a really cool power set. There's some great artists that have worked on the card. He's had some tremendous costumes through the years. He's well known to DC Comics fans. Why the is he not in the set at all? I don't know. It just boggles my head. Right, number 7, bouncing back to Marvel, and we have Quentin Quire from the XMen comic books. So the thing is, right, WizKids clearly have a wild love affair with the XMen intellectual property. We've had countless X-Men sets. We've got non-X-Men sets that feature X-Men characters. X-Men everywhere. They love X-Men. The designers over at WizKids are just really into the X-Men. And yet, Quentin Quire hasn't had a card. Just this really unique and interesting and anarchic, off-the-wall character who has had, again, this is about like significance, a significant role in a number of comic books that have been in this sort of more modern X-Men-y era that they seem to return to over and over again. He was a huge feature of the Grant Morrison X-Men. He's been in loads of different teams. He was a West Coast Avenger for a little while. This guy's been an Avenger, for God's sakes. He's also a mega level powerful. How the has a character like this who's popular with X-Men comic book readers and who brings a bit of edge and something a little bit visually different has not had a card in the game? I do not know. how many more black and yellow or blue and yellow uniforms can we look at in foil card version? Do you know what I mean? Let's get some leather jackets and some pink mohawks, please. Like now. Right, on to number 6, and we have Peacemaker. I told you I'd come back to this trend over and over again. Peacemaker, main character in the latest Suicide Squad's movie, had his own 10-part, or was it 8-part? Doesn't matter. He's had his own TV show. The actor that is playing the character is a world-famous wrestler who's moved over into acting. It's popular. It's fun, it's interesting, and while he may be an obscure character, he has been brought right into the spotlight, and yet, for some reason, WizKids, they've not put this character in the game. How was this character not placed somewhere front and centre for fans of the TV show who loved John Cena's interpretation to draw them towards Dice Masters packs and introduce them to the game? I just do not get it. Once again, what the is WizKids doing? They just cannot seem to get a nicely aligned tie-in with what's going on in the wider world of nerddom when it comes to Dice Masters, and Peacemaker is a great example of that. Okay, back to Marvel then, and on to number 5, which is America Chavez. I told you I'd be ringing this bell a lot, that there was a trend to this video. I've obviously got a bit in my teeth that I can't shake off, and I'm grumpy about the fact that this was the central character of Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. Well, not the central character, that was Scarlet Witch and Doctor Strange, but she's a brand new, significant character in the Marvel Cinematic Universe who is also, incidentally, an extremely popular contemporary Marvel character. You know, she's been around for 10, 15 years or so, and modern readers really love this character. She's been on loads of super teams, she's done loads of collaborations, she's had her own title in the comic books, and now she's being primed and placed for a significant contributing role in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and we've not got not one single card for this character in the game of Dice Masters. Just like Peacemaker, she should have been plastered all over marketing material and draft pack boxes and, you know, countertop displays and all sorts, and put in a recent Marvel set, because she is a brand new, fresh, exciting character that's just been introduced to the MCU and loved by the comic book readers. Why the has America Chavez not got a card yet? It makes no sense to me. And yet, we've just had a Secret Wars set with another Beast and another Apocalypse and another, I don't know, Colossus and another Falcon. You know, just repeato character time. It bends my head. I can't get my head around it. Okay, cracking on then. Back to DC. Number 4 on the DC slate is the demon Entrigan. Or Etrigan, sorry. There's no N at the beginning there. I love this character. This is a personal choice. I haven't actually got, you know, the more objective sort of argument to rant about on this one to say, well, look, it's a popular character. It's been in the TV shows. It's popular in the comic books. No, none of that. I just like this one. I think it's a fun character. We've got the Mystics affiliation. The DC side does have some good attention given to its more mystical, magical characters, and I just like the demon Etrigan. I think it's a cool character. When Jay did his custom card thing, I made one because I like this guy. So yeah, I've got nothing else on that one. Just, come on, WizKids, why the are you not doing my favourite characters? As well as the ones that make sense financially, why aren't you doing my favourite characters? Okay, then on to number 3, back to Marvel, and we have the Black Knight. Once again, banging that drum, I'm ringing that bell for just good, sensible marketing, like cross synergy with what's going on in the wider world of nerddom. I mean, he's been a long-standing character in the Marvel universe. This guy has been around since like the 30s in his most original form. He's been written by some of the most prestigious writers of comic books through the 60s, 70s, and 80s. He was a West Coast Avenger with the leather jacket and everything. He was part of a team. You know, he's been with teams with Black Widow and Vision and all that good stuff. And he is now, with the character of Kit Harington, once again being lined up to make a significant appearance in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So why have we not got a Black Knight character? Where is this guy? He's a bit different. He would be a new Avenger to add to the Avengers affiliation roster. I just don't understand why have we got, like, it's Kit Harington. It's Jon Snow playing the character. There was a whole after credit scene with the sword and everything, although that picture I've used is his new lightsabery style sword that he had in the late 80s, early 90s rather than the black. Anyway, it's a very interesting character, got loads of great lore. You could do some great stuff with the game text, and he's actually pretty well known. He's well known to comic book readers, and he will be even more well known to MCU fans. So why the is he not in the set? I do not know. Okay, on to number 2, swinging back round to DC, and we have Azrael, who, just incidentally, actually did a stint as Batman once. Okay? This guy actually did a stint as Batman. But there was a whole set dedicated to Batman, and we didn't get an Azrael. What the is that all about? This guy was a part of what is arguably one of the most well-known and most recognised comic book storylines from the 90s to have ever been committed to panel page, the Nightfall series. And I don't know, I kind of like the character. I've got a soft spot for the character because I was a 90s Batman comic book reader and he was a big part of the 90s, but he's come back around loads of times. He's aesthetically really interesting. There's tons of great artwork that have been done by some of the best in the business artists around this character. His outfit has changed a few times, but the core principles remain the same. He would just look great on a card. You could do some interesting game text with him. You could do some stuff where one version's a villain affiliation, but one's a Bat family affiliation and all that. But when it comes down to it, I'm just like, come on. It's like, I mentioned this about XMen characters recently. It's like WizKids have just eliminated 90s comics. You know what I mean? Like, if it's 90s-y in tone and flavour, then we don't want it. Ignore it. They either go super right up to the last 10 years, all the really contemporary stuff, or dive way back into history. And even when they dive back into history, they're using modern artwork on the characters. It's like they've just gone, yeah, the 90s, forget about it. It doesn't exist. You're not having 90s characters. But Azrael is a significant... I've used the word significant a lot this video, haven't I? I should find a new synonym for significant. Anyway, continue ranting. How Azrael's not got a card, I don't know. He's just such a key character from Batman 90s comic book lore that I just don't understand why he's been overlooked. I need an explanation as to why this guy's been overlooked. Because look at him. He's badass. He looks cool. He's got flaming swords coming out of his gauntlets. How great would that look in foil? In fact, use that picture. Make him a card, WizKids, and use that picture. He's awesome. Anyway, on to the top spot. Number 1, back to Marvel. Here we go. ShangChi. How is there not a ShangChi card in the game of Dice Masters? Once again, he's had his own film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. He was a main character, is being lined up to be a huge contributing character to ongoing, like, Avengers-y, Marvel Cinematic Universe-y stuff. The film did incredibly well. However you might, whatever review opinion you might have of it, it did incredibly well. It's just, he's had his own comic book now for the last couple of years that seems to be doing well. He collaborates with every character under the sun in Marvel. He looks cool. In fact, again, I've already found your artwork there, WizKids. Use that picture. How amazing would that look in foil? Just awesome. The distance from the reality of what's popular in nerddom and with these comic book characters, with the wider kind of multimedia exposure that they're having. ShangChi, just like a great example. I mean, more like America Chavez was a sort of named character, main cast in Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. Okay. Peacemaker, part of a team, the Suicide Squad, although he did get his own TV series. This guy had his own multi-billion-dollar box office movie of his own. Why the is he not in the game? It's just another character that you should be publishing cards for and then getting him printed up on the countertop displays, on the draft pack designs, on the posters, on the Game Trade magazine adverts, all that stuff. Like, bang out an OP kit with him in when ShangChi 2 comes out. You know what I mean? I've actually exhausted myself on this one. I've run out of steam. I'm burnt out. So there you go, bit of a theme around that one there, I suppose, but you have now been further educated by Chris at the Ministry of Dice about what the is going on with these comic book characters that don't have cards in the game of Dice Masters. I will continue every time I speak to WizKids to ask why have we not got one of these characters over and over and over again. And encourage you to get down in the comments below. Let me know, is there any characters that you're perplexed about, that you're going, why the has this guy not got a character card in the game of Dice Masters? Drop into the comments, let me know. I'm going to wrap it up there. That's been a good 15 minutes of ranty energy. I'm going to go and have a brief lie down. See you later, folks.